Hi Lee Forest, welcome back to Mrs Hudson's kitchen. I hope you're all okay and that you're enjoying doing your remarkable baking still. Today we're on a savoury week, so we're going to be making some pizzas today. Pizzas are one of my favourite things for lunch, but I do need to make sure they're healthy. So I'll go through the equipment that you need, and then I'll go through the ingredients that we're going to use today, and then we'll get cracking with our cooking. So for equipment today, you'll need a saucepan, you'll need a baking tray. I've got one with holes in the bottom so the pizza cooks through from the bottom, but if you haven't got one of those it really doesn't matter. You'll need a grater to grate our cheese. You'll need a chopping board, which I've got ready down, and make sure it's a chopping board that you can chop vegetables on, not one that you've chopped meat on previously. You'll also need a knife, and I've got some scissors, but they're my cooking scissors, so I'll be chopping some of my ingredients up with my cooking scissors, but you don't need those unless you've got some handy. The ingredients that you'll need depends on what you like on your pizzas really, but everybody will need the same for the base. So for the base I've got some part baked bread rolls. I've chosen to use brown bread rolls, but if you don't like brown bread rolls you can use white bread rolls instead. So some part baked bread rolls. I've got 4 here, but if you've got a larger family you can double the quantity really easily with this recipe. So some part baked bread rolls. I've also got some chopped tomatoes, and I've got some tomato puree here in a little tin. You normally get it in a squashy tube, but mine came in a tin this week. Then to go on top of my pizza, I've got some onion and some garlic. I've got some tomatoes, which I've already washed ready, and some mushrooms that also I have washed ready. And then I've got some ham, and Mr Hudson loves pineapple on his pizza, so I've got some pineapple as well. To go in your sauce, I've also got a few mixed herbs, but you don't have to add those if you don't like them, but I do like adding those because it adds a little bit more flavour. The last thing is 150 grams of cheese. Again, if you're making more, you'll have to adapt the amount that you use, but 150 grams should be enough to do 4 pizzas. So that's all the things that you need today. So shall we get cooking? Here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is make my sauce for the pizza. I'm going to get it popped in the pan, and then I can get it on behind me while we're doing the rest of the things we need to do. So let me just pop that cheese out the way for a moment. The first thing you will need to do is take your onion, and you'll need to slice it and dice it really finely. Now there's some really important things to mention when you're doing your chopping to keep your fingers nice and safe. So those of you that have cooked with me before, you'll remember we have a chopping technique called the bridge. So it makes a nice bridge over the vegetable that you're chopping, and then you can chop in the middle of it so your fingers are kept safe. So I think the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my bigger knife because it's a bit sharper, is I'm going to chop my onion in half. There we go. And then I can peel it. Okay, so I can take these outer layers off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use something called the claw. And you see how I'm holding it so all my fingers are safe, and I'm going to chop this end off now. So this is called the claw. Okay, I'm going to pop it back on my surface. Can you see all my fingers are really safe? And I'm going to chop the other end off, and that will make it easier to then peel that part of the onion. There we go. Just pop those to the side. And then I'm going to do the same with my other half. I'm going to hold it as a claw, keep all my fingers tucked out of the way. And I'm going to chop the other end off my onion. And then I can peel it fairly easily, she says. Here we go. Oh, beautiful, that's come off really nicely. There we go. So I've now got my onion. I now need to dice it finely. So I'm going to go back to using my claw, and I'm going to hold my onion with my claw, and then I'm going to slice it into small slices, keeping those fingers safe at all times. I'm going to just pop it all back together on my board. There we go. Then I'm going to turn my onion around and I'm going to go the other way using my claw still, look. And I'm going to go the other way. Try and keep it all together if you can. Don't fly off everywhere. There we go, keep those fingers safe. If you're not confident to do this, get an adult at home to help you. Oh, mine's gone everywhere, look. It's all splayed out on the chopping board. So any little bits that didn't get included, just slice those off. You don't want them in big chunks because you don't want huge chunks of onion on your pizza, do you? So this will make up the base of your sauce. Okay, so see, I'm keeping my fingers safe at all times by using my claw. And I've got my onion nice and finely diced. Just going to finish off doing the other part of my onion. Oh, it's starting to make me cry. I know those of you that have cooked pizzas with me before know what it's like having onions making you cry. Hurt your eye. I know those of you that have cooked pizzas with me before know what it's like having onions making you cry. Hurt your eyes a little bit. Okay, so back to the second part of the onion and we're going to slice, slice, slice. Lots of little slices. Please don't do this unless you've got an adult helping you or watching you, because knives are very sharp and we don't want any missing fingers. There we go. So that's our one onion, all nicely chopped, ready for our sauce, look. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop a little bit of Fry Light. Now you can use any kind of oil you like. I like Fry Light because it's lower in calories. So you can just spray your saucepan with a couple of sprays of oil, or just a little drizzle of vegetable oil if that's what you have at home. And then you can lift up your chopping board and you can very carefully pop those onions into your pan. There we go. Now the next thing we need to do is chop and peel our garlic. So I think I'm just going to put 1 clove of garlic in. This is called a bulb of garlic, and the little pieces inside your garlic are called cloves. Now garlic can be quite strong. Oh gosh, this one's strong. It can be quite strong in flavour as well. So as I say, I'm just going to pop 1 clove of garlic. So that's what a clove of garlic looks like. There we go. And you need to get rid of the pink layer of skin on the outside. So the easiest way to do this is again to use your claw on your chopping board and chop the ends off. So that's 1 end, 2 ends. And most of it comes off when you chop it, to be fair. And then you can just peel the edge bits off. It does make your hands smell a bit garlicky, I'm afraid. There we go. And then inside you have a nice white bulb or clove of garlic. There we go. Then we're going to chop that up into little slices again. We want this quite finely diced, so I'm using my claw, and then I'm going to use my bridge because it's made it a bit difficult with the claw because it's so tiny. And again, please do get your adults to help you with the sharp knives. Do not do this on your own. There we go. That's a bit too big. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller because I don't want big chunks of garlic in my sauce. There we go. Lovely. It doesn't look very much, does it? But it smells absolutely delicious. And then I'm going to pop that in with the onions that we've just popped in the pan. So the next job is to go and pop this on your hob. Okay, so you're going to pop it on your hob for probably about 5 minutes until the onions have started to soften, but don't make them golden brown. Don't make them too brown because it'll taste a bit funny. So just make sure they soften up a little bit. You might need to stir it a little bit. And remember, when you're stirring something on the hob, you hold your saucepan like this and you hold your wooden spoon in your other hand. So make sure you're standing straight on to the pan so it's all very safe. So I'm going to go and do that now and pop it on, and we'll come back and see what it looks like. So here we are at my hob. I'm just going to do as I said and stand holding my pan with my left hand, and then I'm going to do the stirring with my right hand to make sure it's nice and steady. Again, do be careful because your oven or your hob is actually really hot. So do make sure you have an adult with you helping you along the way. Can you hear it sizzling? You know what, I absolutely love the smell of garlic and onion cooking together. And I know you can normally smell it down the corridors of Lee Forest when we have our family cooking courses. It makes everybody really hungry. So this will just take a couple of minutes. I did start it before I started videoing again, so hopefully it won't take too long. Remember, before you start cooking, you always need to make sure you spray your work surface with disinfectant or an antibacterial spray to make sure it's nice and clean, and also make sure you wash those hands. I did all of that before I started cooking today. Oh, this is looking lovely. Can you see in the pan? They are starting to go slightly soft, but not brown. We don't want them brown, we just want them soft. There we go. I'm going to turn my heat down just a little bit. It's a bit fierce. There we go. I'm still holding my pan, look. Keeping my arm high above the pan so I don't touch it and burn myself. There we go. And I think that will about do. So I'm going to turn that off, and I'm just going to leave that there for a moment, and I'm going to go and get my chopped tomatoes and my tomato puree to pop in, and then we can leave it to simmer, which means like bubble away for a little bit, and then that will be ready for us to pop on our bread rolls. So I'm just going to go and get the tomatoes and the tomato puree, and I'll be back with you in a moment. So here we are. I have my tomatoes. So I'm just going to tip the whole can. So it's a 400-gram can of chopped tomatoes. There we go. Oh, can you hear that sizzle as I've tipped it in? And then we'll safely pop our tin to the side. And then I'm just going to pop in a tiny little bit, don't want too much, there we go, of tomato puree. So it'll probably be around 1 tablespoon of tomato puree, and that just thickens the mixture up a little bit for you because you don't want sloppy tomatoes all over your pizzas. I'm going to pop my heat back on, and I'm going to give all that a mix together. There we go. There we go. Can you see my tomato sauce? Lovely. Right, you then want to turn the heat right down. Take your spoon out, and then you can just leave that to simmer. As I say, that means to bubble for around 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, make sure it doesn't burn on the bottom, so you might need to come back and just give it a little stir. The handle of your pan needs to sit to the outside of your hob when you are simmering, and that makes sure that nobody walking past can knock it off, or that you can't burn your hand if the other hob is hot. Okay, so there's the safety tips around using your hob. So you can leave that to bubble away, and we'll pop some herbs in it just before the end. Okay, so we'll go back and we'll now start to chop up all our beautiful vegetables ready to pop on the top of our pizza when the sauce is ready. So here we are back with our chopping board. And now I'm going to chop up all the lovely vegetables that we have got to pop on top of our pizzas. And as I say, you can choose what you want. You don't have to use what I've used. You can choose what you want to have on top of your pizzas. So I think the first thing I'm going to chop up is my mushrooms. So I'm going to use my bridge again and my knife, and I'm just going to slice those into thin slices. Don't make them too thick, otherwise they won't cook nicely in the oven. Okay. So keep those fingers nice and safe, and remember, have an adult with you. I think I'm just going to do 3 mushrooms because I know that William and Summer, my children, don't like mushrooms on their pizzas. So it's just myself and Mr. Hudson that will have those for our lunch. You don't have to peel the mushrooms, but you do need to make sure you wash them thoroughly before chopping them up. So there's my mushrooms. Show you. There we go. They smell nice too. And then I'm just going to do a couple of little tomatoes. I'm going to use my bridge for this. Let me show you that way around. Because they're so tiny, I think if I used my claw, I'd put my fingers in danger. So I'm using my bridge. The bridge looks like that. Yeah, so your vegetables either side in these pinchers. I think I'm just going to chop up 3 tomatoes as well. There we go. The other thing I'm going to do is a piece of pineapple. So here we go, here's a piece of pineapple. I'm going to use my bridge for this to chop it, and then I'm going to use my claw to chop it into tiny little pieces. There we go. Oh, that smells lovely as well. Oh, I can't wait to eat these. Looking forward to a treat for our lunch. Then I'm going to chop up my ham. Now I always use my scissors for chopping up ham because I find it easier, but I do keep these just for meat. You notice they're different to the ones I used the other day. So I've got my kitchen scissors that I use for opening packets and things, and then I've got my other scissors that I use for chopping up meat. So this is cooked meat. So I'm going to leave it in the packet because I don't want to mix it with my raw vegetables. So I'm going to leave it in the packet as I chop it. And I'm just going to fold it in half and then in half again. And that makes quarters, doesn't it? And then I'm going to chop it into little tiny strips. And then I'm going to just chop it into little strips again. So we don't want massive pieces of ham on our pizza. There we go, chop, chop, chop. Beautiful. So let me just show you if you can see the little tiny pieces that I've chopped up there, look. Lovely, ready to go on our pizza. The last thing I need to do is to grate my cheese. So I'm going to get my grater, and I'm going to use this side of my grater. You can buy cheese ready grated if you want to, that's up to you. But grating is great fun. But do be careful of your fingers. I don't want any grated knuckles or grated fingernails in my pizza, thank you. So you get your block of cheese and you work down on the grater. There we go. This is the way I grate my cheese, grate my cheese, grate my cheese. Oh, it's quite hard work grating cheese, but do keep those fingers nice and safe. I tend to move my hand backwards rather than having knuckles in the way. So I've got to keep going until it's all grated. So it's quite hard work, and if you want to, you can cheat and buy ready grated cheese. That's absolutely fine. I can hear my tomato sauce simmering nicely in the background as well. So that should be ready for us in a moment. There we go, we're nearly there with the cheese. Keeping my fingers and my knuckles safe. Move direction again. Oh, it's building up my muscles. There we go. Nearly there, look, my tiny little piece of cheese. Now this is where you've got to be really careful, and again, like the advice with knives, make sure you have an adult with you while you're doing this. Now it's always really difficult to get that last piece of cheese done, so just pop that down. Then you can shake it all out of your grater, give it a nice little tap, and bingo! We have our cheese. Lovely. So I'm just going to move our vegetables out the way, and the next job we've got is we've got to slice our bread rolls. I think these are already sliced. I might be wrong. Yes, I might be wrong. So let's open our bread rolls. There we go. Yeah, I'm wrong. They haven't already been sliced. So I have just washed my knife and I'm going to slice these in half. So let me get my chopping board back and just move my vegetables slightly out the way. There we go. And then I'm going to use the bridge method. So I'm going to make a bridge and I'm going to slice these in half. There we go. Oh, they look lovely. Lots of grains inside them, full of fibre, which is good for our digestive system. There we go. And that's number 2. So each person will have 2 slices of pizza for their lunch. And there's another one. So if I've chopped 4 bread rolls into 2 pieces, how many bread rolls will I have altogether? Shall we count? Here we go. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So out of my 4 bread rolls, I've now doubled the amount of pizzas that I'm going to make. So I've got 8 in total. The next job you've got to do is go and get your tomato sauce, and then we're going to spoon that onto the pizza bases. Okay? Before we spoon our mixture onto our pizza bases, we do just need to add a few mixed herbs to our mixture if we want to. So I'm just going to sprinkle a few into my tomato sauce, and then I'm going to give it a little mix just to make sure it's all incorporated nicely. Oh, if you could only smell this. There we go. So there we go, there's our lovely tomato sauce. And it is piping hot, so again, do be very careful when you're using the pan. So we're then going to get a spoon, and we're going to spoon our mixture onto our bread roll bases. Okay, so here we go. I hope you can see okay. So I'm just going to put 1 spoon of mixture onto each base and just spread it out. I'll show you in close up in a moment when I've done that. There we go. There we go. So there's your base of your pizza with your tomato topping on. We'll do another one. So just 1 spoon of topping. Spread it out right into the corners. Now if you don't want onion in your tomato sauce, you don't have to put it in. You could just use some tomato and some garlic. I just like the crunch of the onion, and it gives it that little bit more flavour. And to be perfectly honest, you can't taste the onion once you've got all the other toppings on. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't like onion, why don't you try it and see what you think? There we go, this is number 4. So I'm nearly halfway there. There we go. Right to the corners. Oh, that onion's a bit big. Okay, number 5. Oh. Who's feeling hungry? Number 6. Try to be as neat as you can with this so they're not all flopping over the side, because it could make a big mess. Number 7, so we are nearly there. We've got 1 more to do. There we go. And the very last one, I've got too much tomato sauce, so maybe I can make them again tomorrow. There we go. If you haven't got part-baked bread rolls, by the way, you could always do this on a wrap or just a piece of bread. I think that would work as well. So there we go, we've put all of our tomato sauce, I'll just move that out of the way, onto our pizza bases, and now we need to decide what toppings we're going to have. So the first thing I'm going to do is make mine and Mr. Hudson's pizzas. We're going to have everything on ours. We're going to have ham, pineapple, mushroom and tomato. Okay, so I'm going to put the ham on first, I think. So I've got to do 4 little pizza bases. So you just spread the ham out, try and do it nice and neatly so they look nice, and spread the ham out onto the top of the pizza. There we go. I bought smoked ham because it is really flavoursome. There we go, nearly there. I need to make sure this ham does not touch my daughter's pizza because she is a vegetarian. So keeping it right away from hers. I'm going to use all of it because it is delicious. There we go. Brilliant. I'm going to wash my hands because I've just touched the meat. Even though it's cooked, you still need to keep your hands clean. So I'm just going to give them a quick wash. There we go. And then we'll be on to popping on some more toppings. I think I'm going to do pineapple next. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to put, I think, 2 pieces of pineapple on each pizza base. There we go. Oh, I've got a few left over, so I might put 3 on. Mr. Hudson will be really happy. There we go. So I've got 3 pieces of pineapple on each base. And then I'm just going to put 2 tomatoes, that's not a tomato, 2 mushrooms. Let's pick the nice ones so they look really good. And 2 more. There we go. You know what, I don't think I've got a space for the tomatoes on this one. So I'm just going to sprinkle some cheese over the top. Now again, try and be as neat as you can with the cheese so it doesn't melt everywhere onto your tray because we don't want a big cheesy mess. So you're just going to pop the cheese on the top like that. So there you go. If you want to use the stretchy cheese, that's called mozzarella. I'm just using a cheddar cheese, but it's up to you which one you decide to use. There we go. My cheese is also 50% less fat, just because that's what I prefer. Right, so there's mine and Mr. Hudson's pizzas done. I have made a bit of a mess of the tray, so I'll probably tidy that up before I pop it in the oven. Now I'm going to do William and Summer's pizzas. And William does like ham and pineapple, but I'm just going to do cheese and tomato today, just to show you, because he likes that as well. They're called margaritas. But I'm just going to do cheese and tomato today, just to show you, because he likes that as well. They're called margaritas, so he does like cheese and tomato. So I'm just going to pop a tomato on each one. I might put it in the middle actually, make it look pretty. There we go. And then just some cheese. And they will be more than happy with that as a combination. So just cheese and tomato. If you've got some big salad tomatoes, you could slice those up instead of the little ones that I've used. That's absolutely fine. There we go. I think I've done a little bit too much cheese as well, so it doesn't matter. Now, I like to just pat them down a little bit so they don't all squidge out everywhere when we're cooking them. And as I say, I'm just going to clean the cheese off the board so it doesn't all drip through onto the base of my cooker. So when you've got to this stage and you've decided what toppings you're going to have, you're then going to bake your pizzas at 180 degrees for about 20 minutes. They might need a little bit longer depending on how hot your oven gets. And remember, when you're putting things in and taking things out of the oven, you need to get an adult to help you. So I'll be back once these are cooked, and I can't wait now for my lunch. So I'll see you in 20 minutes and we'll see these delicious pizzas cooked and ready to eat. See you in a bit. Hi everyone, here they are out the oven and they smell absolutely delicious. Put my oven glove on again to show you. So there we go. Wow, they smell remarkable. I'm going to serve mine out now. So I was the one with all the different ingredients on. So do be careful because your tray will be hot. That one's a little bit stuck. Let's give it a slice up. Wow, look at those. Yum, yum, yum. I'd love to eat it now, but I'll make a big mess, so I shall enjoy this in a moment. If there's any other bakes that you want me to have a go at, please do send me a message. I'm happy to try any of your recipes. Also, don't forget to send me a photo of your bakes, and then we can pop them on the Bake Off gallery and we can judge then to see who's going to be Star Baker this week in our assembly. So, happy cooking, happy baking, enjoy yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you next time for episode number 5. Take care now, bye.